to The Road Traveled, a travel podcast by myself, Judy Adams, with World Travel Service, and Melissa Barcalau from abetterviewtravel. We are so glad that you could join us today to meet with Mr. Peter Schratz, Director of Sales from the Sagamore Pendry in Baltimore. He's going to talk to us today about this fabulous hotel, and I've been fortunate enough to visit this hotel several times, and it is just a property that is magnificent. So many great things to do. I'm going to turn it over to Melissa at this point. Melissa, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Judy. And Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about the location of the hotel in Baltimore?
Yeah, of course. So the hotel is located in the historic district of Baltimore called Fellspoint. Fellspoint is a really beautiful area. It almost has this like European feel to it. As you drive up the hotel, you drive along cobblestone streets, and right around the hotel, there's just an array of different shopping, dining, and bar venues that are mostly built into like historic old homes. So you really have this feeling that you're in this quintessential little harbor city. And our hotel itself is actually built out onto a historic pier. So it's a really unique design of a hotel. It's fully retrofitted into this pier that used to be a pier for immigration coming into the United States. At the time the pier was built, it actually was the second largest port of immigration into the United States after Ellis Island. So throughout the entire hotel, you really get the essence of Baltimore, and the rich history of the building and the area is really tied into the decor. And one thing to note too is that with everything going on right now with COVID-19, the city of Baltimore is really trying to attract travelers to come enjoy the city. So one of the things they're actually in the works of doing right now is closing down parts of Thames Street that are right outside of our doors to make it a safe venue for people to have dining and like cocktails and things like that right out on the street. So that'll be a really great benefit for us. And it would actually be just right a block away from us where guests could do that.
That's great. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A la New Orleans.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they're going for.
So can you tell us along the same lines, what is the Sagamore Pendry doing for guests? Like room service, cleaning, towels? Can you just let us know what health and safety protocols you've put in place?
Yes, of course. So I will be candid. There's still some things we are working out as our opening date has been pushed back to July 1st right now. So the very like fine details we're still, kind of solidifying, but in general, Montage International has put out the peace of mind commitment. And that discusses, much more enhanced cleaning techniques with electrostatic sprayers, UV wands and devices, and particulate level air filtration systems. It also just has we just now have a much more detailed plan in terms of room cleaning. We also, when the hotel does reopen, we'll be doing it so at a much lower occupancy. We have about 128 rooms, and the plan right now is to probably only open with about 30 rooms so that we have the ability to spread out the rooms throughout the hotel, ensure that no one is staying in your room 24 hours prior to your arrival, and things of that nature. We also do have a partnership with One Medical so that guests can virtually talk to a medical professional at any point during their stay, should they like to do so. Also things, we'll have, hand sanitizer and things like that throughout the entire hotel. We also will have personal protective gear that all the employees will be wearing and that we can provide for guests. I think also something that will really benefit our travelers is that with a much smaller hotel, the touch points of service can be so much more personalized, with things down to the idea of a guest, calling as they're driving up to the hotel so that their keys can be ready for them, and just sitting on the front desk and just verifying the guest's name as they walk up, and then handing their keys so they can go on their way. So really just making sure guests are as comfortable as possible with those different touch points, and making them as contactless as possible. Another thing too that we're very fortunate with at the hotel is that we actually have a ton of outdoor space, which is pretty rare for a city property like ours. So we have a really beautiful courtyard that runs the entire center of the hotel that is outdoors, and all of our dining will be either on the pool deck or on the courtyard. So guests will be able to dine outside with tables that have been placed 6 feet apart.
Well, it sounds like you've taken everything into mind there for keeping guests safe and healthy. As you mentioned, you have outdoor space, and you said you have 128 rooms. Can you tell us some other features of the hotel?
Yes, of course. So because we have the outdoor space, we have a lot of rooms that have balconies or patios. So that's a really nice benefit as well. So our entire third floor, every single room or suite on the third floor has balconies. And then on the first floor, we have rooms with courtyards. And then the majority of our rooms have stunning views of the harbor and the water as well. Because we are on the pier that juts out onto into the Patapsco River, we just have really unique views of the water being like right above the water. You almost feel like you're on a ship, which is nice. And then the other, in terms of room configurations for families, we do have the best one I'd recommend is that we have a deluxe harbor suite that deluxe connects to a deluxe harbor king. So that provides a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bed bathroom suite configuration with a sofa bed and the ability to put a rollaway in there. So we also do have more traditional connecting options that are just a king to a room with 2 queen beds as well. So really kind of whatever you're looking for, we can kind of make it happen. We even have a suite that connects to another suite to connect to make a much larger suite. I actually just reserved that for a bachelorette party that will be coming to the hotel in August that had to relocate. That was planning on traveling, internationally. So really the configuration that's best for their family, either if it's multi-generational or if they're traveling with an au pair. If you just tell me what you're looking for, we can pretty much make it work.
Wonderful. Is it a pet-friendly hotel?
We are a very pet-friendly hotel, yes. So we welcome your little friends, and we do have pet amenities too. So we have like little beds you can put in the room and treats and things like that for dogs.
Wonderful. And parking, valet, is there a garage? I'm assuming no garage because you're on a pier.
Correct. So our garage is a few blocks down. So we will still continue to have valet parking. So the immediate street in front of us, again, this is still kind of in the works. So what Visit Baltimore ends up doing with the street closures is not set in stone yet. But if that goes to plan of what we were looking for, they would close the street like 1 block away from us. So we'd still have full access to our front drive. We'll have full access to our front drive regardless if they close the street. But yeah, so we will still have valet. And then I actually was talking with an advisor last night who mentioned to me that some travelers might be a little hesitant to do valet parking. So we don't have a garage, but there is a garage a block or 2 away that we can recommend to guests if they would like to park their own car.
Oh, all very valid points.
Yeah.
And how many restaurants and bars do you have on site? Are they going to be open right away? And you mentioned the outdoor space, so I'm assuming everybody will be able to eat.
Correct. So I guess I can tell you what we typically have and then what we plan to have. And again, this is still kind of a work in progress, but what we plan to have when we reopen. So typically we have Rec Pier Chop House, which kind of anchors the entire hotel. It has, it's in the historic part of the building. It has massive ceilings with exposed brick and big heavy metal beams. It's very like industrial chic feeling. And it's an Italian chop house where the menu was curated by chef Andrew Carmelini, who has many great restaurants all around the country. So we have a really great partnership with him. So that's our typical main 3-meal-a-day restaurant, Rec Pier Chop House. Then we also have the Cannon Room. The Cannon Room is a more intimate whiskey bar. It actually is in the shape of a whiskey barrel. So when you walk in, it kind of almost smells like a barrel, and it has a very like masculine feel to it with brown leather and things like that. And it features Sagamore Rye, which is a Maryland style rye whiskey. And it's called the Cannon Room because in the floor of it, there's a cannon that was found in the pier that actually dates back to the 17th century. The story I heard is that a Chinese embargo ship was too heavy and it was trying to leave the pier. And so they just dumped their cannons. And we found them when we were returning the hotel into the Pendry. So we have 3 cannons throughout the hotel, one of which is prominently featured in the Cannon Room in the floor under a layer of glass. And then we also have
amazing.
our pool deck, which serves cocktails and more casual fare. And then we also have a cigar deck where guests can purchase cigars, and there's cocktails either with Sagamore Rye or with Moet and Chandon that pair with certain cigars. So that's kind of the normal spiel I'd give you pre COVID-19. But right now we're looking at keeping everything outdoors for right when we open. So that'll primarily be serving probably Rec Pier Chop House meals in the courtyard, and then still having pool service and the pool menu out by the pool deck.
Great. What are some of your recommendations from the menu and the drink list?
Okay, I'm happy you asked that question. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So the linguine fini is this pasta dish from Rec Pier Chop House that is absolutely to die for, and I cannot wait till I'm back in the hotel to eat it. It's a mixture of like a spicy like blush sauce with crab mixed in and jalapenos, and it's fresh made pasta, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. I also love the crab cake. It's such a traditional Maryland style crab cake, but it's, really fresh, really awesome. Highly recommend that. And then the guacamole from the pool deck is out of this world. It's actually served with Old Bay chips, to kind of give it more of a Baltimore flair. And when I first saw the menu, I thought it was kind of strange, but then I had it and it just works really well and highly recommend it. And then honestly, I know it's kind of a traditional, but I like the old fashioned. I just think it's very well made with the Sagamore rye if you're dining in Rec Pier Chop House. But also out by the pool deck, I just don't think when it's warm outside and you're sitting by the pool, you can beat anything more than an Orange Crush.
Wow, those all sound amazing.
Yeah.
You've sold me. I can't wait. Judy, you've been and you've talked about a beverage that you loved from the Sagamore Pendry.
Yes. First of all, Peter, I'm glad that you mentioned and one time I had the crab cake and one time I had the pasta, and that pasta is out of this world. And I also think I had some type of a meatball as an appetizer.
Oh yes, AC's famous meatballs.
Yes, that was amazing. The drink is a biscotti old fashioned. So it's an old fashioned made with Sagamore rye, which I bought a few bottles of in the local store, and they have it down here too in Texas, actually. And it's made with a biscotti frangipani liqueur, and it is, it's just out of this world. We loved it so much. We got the recipe from the bartender. Fantastic.
Awesome.
So Peter, if how long would you recommend to stay at the hotel?
I think like 2 to 3 nights is great. I think a quick weekend away, there's a lot to do in the immediate area. We're still kind of hearing word about what's reopening and what's not, but even still, just right in the immediate area of Fells Point, you can walk around, there's great dining options, you can kind of keep busy, lay by the pool, relax. I would say somewhere between 2 to 3 nights.
And then what would be some of your recommendations on things to do in Baltimore?
Oh yeah, of course. So again, this one is kind of pending at the moment, but the National Aquarium, is always a huge sell for the city. It's a stunning aquarium. It's, arguably by some the best in the country, and referred to as our nation's aquarium. So definitely recommend that. Fort McHenry is also a great place, and that is, a state park. And so it's, a lot of open air. You can go and see where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner after the Battle of Baltimore during the War of 1812. So there's a lot of history there, and it's a really cool spot. Going whiskey tasting is really fun. There's a Sagamore Rye distillery, is about a 25-minute drive from the hotel. And it's a really cool distillery with a ton of outdoor space and a restaurant called Rye Street Tavern. That's actually our sister restaurant. So similar vibe, but just a little bit of different menu offerings. So you can go whiskey tasting, sit outside, look at the water, dine there as well. The Guinness Brewery is also, only about 25 minutes from the hotel, and it's the only Guinness brewery in the United States, and it's massive and has a ton of outdoor space as well, and it's a really fun spot to check out. And then also just biking around the area is really nice if you're just trying to do something active and outdoors.
Great. Those all sound like wonderful things to do, much less laying there at that pool. Wow.
Yeah. And then something to note about the pool as well, I do want to just bring up for anyone who's, has questions about how the pool deck will work. We're still, again, ironing out the details, but the plan right now is to have reserved pool times for our hotel guests. So only hotel guests are able to use the pool. So we're already operating at a much lower occupancy, as I mentioned, but even with that lower occupancy, we will have reserved pool times that guests will have, so that to really limit the number of people who are at the pool at a specific time.
Are you gonna do something similar with the fitness center?
Correct. We will do something similar with the fitness center. And then we are also looking at offering other fitness related activities. So we have a very strong partnership with Under Armour. We actually are owned by the CEO and founder of Under Armour, Kevin Plank, and the Under Armour World headquarters are located directly across the water from our hotel. So we are looking at and they have a huge outdoor space at Under Armour. So we are looking at partnerships with them where we could potentially do like fitness classes outside. So that's something. Again, we haven't like ironed out the details of that, but that's in the works. And once I have that information, I can send that over to you. But we are looking at doing more fitness-minded activities throughout the hotel to engage guests.
Those sound all wonderful. And I believe you're gonna offer some specials when the hotel reopens.
Correct, yes. So we will have a few different Virtuoso promotions that will be available to your clients. So it really just kind of depends, which ones going to work best for them, and they are combinable. So the first one is a suite extra day away stay. So if a guest were to reserve a suite for 2 nights, they'd reserve the 3rd night complimentary. So that's a huge cost savings to them. And then that configuration option would be great again for a larger family because they could get a connecting room. So it could be a 2-bedroom suite for them as well. And then we also will upgrade any room or suite at time of booking as long as we have the next category room available. So that's a really, really nice benefit as well. And we also provide an additional $100 credit on any suite bookings. So if they come and want to stay around the hotel and just relax and they're staying in the suite, they'll have $200 to spend on anything they'd like. And that includes valet parking and things of that nature. So it's not just limited to food and beverage.
Or one of those wonderful meals you mentioned.
Yes, correct.
Judy, do you have anything else to add in?
Well, I don't know. I love Baltimore. My family, my husband's family's from Baltimore, so I spend a great deal of time there. And I have been to the Baltimore Aquarium, and I've seen a lot of aquariums. I've been to the Shed in Chicago, and I guess I'm kind of an aquarium nerd. And I have to tell you, Baltimore Aquarium really surprised me. It was amazing. I guess I didn't know that it existed.
Yeah.
So the hotel
beautiful.
is fabulous, Peter. I mean, I don't know. I encourage everybody who's looking for something to do this summer that is outside of the 4 walls of their home, which they're probably really tired of seeing, about the Sagamore Pendry in Baltimore. And they can do that by contacting myself or Melissa, and we'll help you plan your stay at this fabulous hotel. It would really be our pleasure. So I want to thank you, Peter, for joining us today. You have been a information, and we're just excited to let our clients know about your fabulous property. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.